Well, good evening. How are you? Let's get one thing perfectly straight. I have a moustache. I'm not going to try to pretend I don't. There it is, right there above my top lip. Yeah, I was shaving, and then Baxter came into the bathroom and said, "Ha, you got a moustache? I just hadn't got to that bit yet. I've done all the..." And he's like, "You got to keep it, Dad." And I'm like, "Dude, no." I'm doing a YouTube video in a minute. He said, "Well, just ask the viewers if they think you should keep it or shave it off. And then whatever they say, you have to do." So let's play that game, shall we? I don't have a lot of subscribers. I don't really expect many people to even watch this. But if you are watching it, do I keep the mo or shave the mo? What do you think? What do you think? I know what I would like to do, but Anyway, in my last video, I mentioned that I was going to make a video on determination, and what I mean by that is I had an experience. 10%. It's really late. It's really quite late at night, so I don't know why I'm doing this now. I just want to get this done. So, I had this experience in high school with a bully, and I thought it's a really valuable lesson, actually. And I thought that I would relay it to you and then discuss some of the positives that have come from my experience. Well, I'm not going to say his name. Let's just call him Stevette, just to emasculate him, because he wasn't a very nice guy. Now, I don't blame him. We won't call him Stevette. We'll call him Michael. It was a long time ago. I was in grade 8. He was in grade 9. It was kind of his duty to pick on the grade 8s. I get it. When I was in grade 9, I picked on the grade 8s too. So, you know. But he just kind of made it into a bit of a sport. Now, I wasn't a particularly popular kid, but I wasn't particularly picked on either. I kept myself pretty, I kept my head down, and I just had my friends, and I stayed away from the people that seemed to have, violent tendencies, and I kept my nose pretty clean, frankly. But anyway, this guy, Michael, decided to make a sport out of picking on me in particular. And really, he's the only one that's ever done that. Oh, there was one other guy. Actually, there's a really similar story with him. I am a pretty passive person, but I reach a point where I have enough. And anyway, this guy, he took it too far one day, and he came up behind me. I was sitting at the library with some friends, and he just put his hands around my neck, started to squeeze. A lot of guys would get up and start punching on, but I just ignored him. I just was like, yeah, whatever. He'll stop soon. And he kind of kept going until it got to the point where it was too much, really. And I shook him off, or he stopped, or something, but it was that really made me go, no, I'm not putting up with this. I'm not putting up with this. And so yeah, his sort of sport was to accost me at a particular place near the library, walking up from one of the classrooms at a certain period of the day. Clearly, he was there at the same time as me, and he saw me walking by on my own and jumped out at me and had a bit of a go, and it gave him a bit of a jolly. And then he decided to do it again the next day. The next day he saw me again, did it again, and it became a habit for him. And the day came when I had decided that I'd had enough. I wasn't going to put up with it anymore. I'm not sure if it was related to the strangle thing. how that all fitted in, but I do know that he was jumping out at me at the same place every day. And one day I just decided that I had enough. And I decided that I was going to kill him. I was going to stab him. And I got a piece of wire, like a big thick gauge, and I wrapped it around my fist so that there was a piece poking out, but I could hold on to it with a big spike on the end. And I had a big chunk of cement in my bag too. I was going to have the cement in my hand. I was just going to fucking stab him. And I walked past that same place. Every day I walked past that place. I walked past it that day with my hand in my bag with the wire around my fist. And I was like, Rip, come on, jump out at me then. Come on. Because I will kill you. And he didn't jump out at me. I didn't even see his face. And he never jumped out at me ever again. So my suggestion is that when we make the decision to not take it anymore, and I mean decision, then things can change. Now I'm speaking in relation to the interior realm of thought, anxiety. Now I've touched on this before, and I have another video to make about the techniques I've been employing of leaving anxiety behind. This is about determination. Let's just say for a moment that the anxiety is Michael. And you have a trigger that every time you come upon something, it triggers you and you get anxious or scared or depressed or whatever. That's fine if you want to get triggered by Michael, let him strangle you or whatever. Or get a piece of wire. And this isn't a violent act. This is defense. This is like enough. And then perhaps Michael won't jump out at you anymore once you truly decide that you've had enough. And the other thing relating to that is that I believe that all of our inner Michaels are in fact us. It's like our shadow side. It's our darkness. And the truth is, what this darkness really wants is for you to stand up for yourself. It's just trying to get you to hunt, to create, destroy, to stop getting pushed around. And the minute you stand up and say, you know what, Michael, F you. And I want to say it because I want this to be, I want it to be, bleepy. But the minute you stand up and say, you know what, no. The minute you stand up and go, you know what, I'm not scared of you. In fact, I will fucking ruin you, mate. The Michaels, it's almost like you can hear Michael applauding you. And it doesn't bother you anymore. So I hope that's valuable. It's valuable to me, and that's all that I can know. So I'm offering it to the world at large. The other story was another guy who we're going to call Cindy. Now that's just stupid. Let's call him Bevan. So, he used to do the same thing, but you see, on our veranda, like grade 10, grade 11, there's a white line in the middle, and you weren't allowed to cross that line because they were trying to keep the stairwells to each individual class group. But, we would quite often just walk across the white line because what did it really matter? And as long as everyone didn't do it, there was no problem. Now, this guy, Bevan, decided that he was going to police the white line and not let me across it. And I think he did it a few times, and there was a point where I think maybe he turned me away once or twice. Once or twice I pushed past him. I don't really know, but I do know that one day I had my bag on my shoulder like this, as I would do, and Bevan stops me on the white line and he just will not let me past. And it's going to sound really weird, but I was going to punch him in the face. But I had my bag there, so it was like... I could have dropped it and decked him and got suspended or whatever. But anyway, my point is... And by the way, I'm not much of a puncher. I've never really punched anyone in my life. But in that moment, I was going to punch Bevan right on the nose because I would not take it anymore. And he saw it and let me cross the white line and never bothered me again. So what I'm also perhaps saying is violence isn't necessarily needed to be enacted to be effective. Once the bully outside of you or inside of you sees that you are serious and you mean it, in my experience, they leave you alone. In some way, they're just asking you to step up. So that's my content for the day or for this video, and I do sincerely hope that somebody gets some value out of it. The next video I'm going to do is a follow-on again, and it's going to be about, what was it again? Yeah, walking away from anxiety. It's a really interesting technique that I've been doing just lately, and it's so effective. I really hope it helps. So thank you very much for listening / watching, and I look forward to conversing at you in the near future.